And about 50% of voters, they'll vote early. They either vote through early voting or they'll vote in the mail, but then we usually get the rest. And you'll always see that. I think you'll always see that because voting at the polls, it's an experience that a lot of people don't want to give that up. You know, there's convenience with voting by mail, there's convenience of going to an early voting site, but there's nothing like the experience of going to your local polling location with your family and your friends and seeing it with your neighbors and voting locally. So I don't think you'll ever see that go away. The voter services and mail team. How many of you have already received your vote by mail ballot? There you go. Well, these are the two that sent it to you. So that's good. So you've already received it. If you haven't received your vote by mail ballot yet and you want one, you'll just, on that pink form that you have in front of you, make sure you make that note. We'll make sure to get you a mail ballot out to you. The green envelopes that you saw your ballots come in, we actually won an award for that. So we were very proud of the design of our envelope. We were noted for the unique placement of the barcodes in our envelope so that it gets to where it's supposed to go and comes back to where it's supposed to come back to. And of course, you're all now part of the poll worker team. That's Eugene saying hi. And this is the last chance for a voter to vote. A voter can vote by mail, they can vote during the early voting period. Election day, that's their last opportunity. And it's open from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. And that's when the voters, that's their last opportunity to come in and make their decisions. We have 88 sites, so we've got 88 teams all throughout Leon County to serve our voters on Election Day. And you're going to hear me refer to the canvassing board today. The canvassing board, it's a three-member board, which includes your supervisor of election, a county judge, and a county commissioner. And they're the ones who actually make decisions about eligibility. They're the ones who test your voting machines. They certify an election. So you're going to hear me mention the canvassing board a couple of times today, and I wanted you to know who they are. They're the ones that actually make sure that your elections are accurate and transparent and accessible to the voters of Leon County. So let's talk about the election. What you can expect. The first thing is, know what your assignment is. If you're not sure where your assignment is, we've got some support back there. There's Linda. Hey, Linda. Say hey to everybody. That's Linda. She's one of your head support. You can ask her to make sure if you don't know where you're supposed to be going, she can let you know. And 6 o'clock in the morning is when you have to report, and that's dark. So sometimes it looks different in the dark than it does in the day. So make sure you know how to get to it in the dark, because that sometimes does make a difference. We'll have open labs coming up. They start the last Saturday in February 29th, and they'll run through March 2nd, March 3rd, and March 4th. And an open lab is where we have all these machines set up, and you can just come and play. You can stay for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, an hour, 2 hours. It doesn't matter. It's just here for you to come and play and feel more secure. Because we want your day to be a good day. We want you to feel comfortable. So whatever we can do to make that happen for you so that you feel comfortable, you just say, hey, this is what I want to do, and we'll make it happen for you. The March 17th primary election, this is going to be one that tends to sneak up on your voters. When they think about elections, they think about the November general election, and then they, oh, you mean there's an election in March? Really? Well, yeah, there's an election in March. And it's an important one. It's one in which there's particular parties are looking for the nominee for their party to move on to the general election for president. And that can be confusing for voters because they don't understand exactly what this election is for. But it is going to be exciting because we are expecting about 56%, which means you're going to have a steady day. You know, you'll have some busy periods, and then you'll have some quiet periods, and busy periods around lunch, and then quiet periods again. So it's a good day as a new team member to come on board because it'll give you a chance to kind of meet your team and figure out what you want to eat and have a good day and eat whatever you want to and eat. But anyway, it's going to be a good time to kind of get started. We're expecting about 46,000 people on election day. So that's, spread throughout the county. So that's pretty good. That's a pretty good haul of folks coming in. With this being a closed primary, it is party specific. That's what tends to confuse your voters. With it being a closed primary, it means that for those candidates that are running for the Democratic nominee for president, only those folks that are registered as a Democrat can vote. For those who are vying for the Republican nomination for president, only those who are registered as Republicans can vote. If I'm registered as an independent or a non-party affiliated, then with it being closed, I can't register, I can't vote, I'm ineligible for this election. Only those registered as Ds and Rs can vote. And if you are registered D and R here in Leon County, there's 3 ways you can vote. You can vote by mail, or you can come in and early vote, or wait for election day and go into your polling location. With it being party specific, this is where it's going to, you're going to have folks that are going to come in and they're going to sign in with you, and I'm going to show you how to sign in, but they're not going to understand when they're told you're not eligible to vote. Because they want to vote, they want to be a part of the process, they've been watching all of this on TV, and they don't understand that they have to be a registered member of that party to vote that party ticket. So in those cases, when you have somebody that comes in and says, what do you mean I can't vote? You're wrong. You just look at them and say, I hear you, I understand. I'm going to introduce you to my clerk. Your clerk is your manager. They're the manager of your polling location, and they'll be able to actually help the person, maybe give them some information about what a closed primary system is, and perhaps give them some information about how to vote, and if all else fails, have them actually vote a provisional ballot, which we'll talk about in just a second. This is what the ballot looks like for those for the Democratic races. You'll see there's a lot of names on there. You'll also see there's a lot of names on there from people who've actually already suspended their campaigns, isn't it? Well, the one thing about somebody who suspends their campaign, if they wanted their name off the ballot, there's a time frame in which they have to do it, and they had to have done it before December 9th. And of course, these candidates, they did it well after December 9th, so their names are still on the ballot, they're still candidates on the ballot. Your military overseas ballots, they go out 45 days before the election, because you want your military overseas to be able to vote. Your ballots have already gone out, so what of course we do is we let the public know, that okay, there are candidates who have suspended their campaigns. We know that they're on the ballot. If they have any more questions about that, the state of Florida, the state division of elections can provide them some more information about these particular candidates, because these are federal candidates. This is what the ballot looks like for those who are registered as a Republican. And we know that there's already somebody here who's dropped out over the weekend. And I got you a bunch of stuff, so I got a bunch of stuff for you to keep. The first thing I have for you, this is your manual.